Thank you for joining me as we build a school culture that reflects excellence for everyone through the foundation of building beloved community. According to the King Center, the beloved community is a global vision in which all people can share in the wealth of the earth and where racism and all forms of discrimination, bigotry, and prejudice will be replaced by an all-inclusive spirit. As Dr. Martin Luther King said, it is this type of spirit and this type of love that can transform opponents into friends. So how do we build beloved community? Look critically, yet gently, at the way our actions and behaviors impact other people, both intentionally and unintentionally. Check our assumptions. Cultivate humility. Give and receive honest feedback. Make mistakes and learn from them.
The first thing that comes to my mind is belonging. I mean, every human being that walks through that door, including our parents, right? How do they feel like, yeah, this is a place that I'm supposed to be, that I'm welcomed here, I'm seen here, I'm appreciated here. If something's not feeling good, I can talk about it. If I do something great, I'm celebrated. But just that everyone belongs. This is what it means to be at Ferris. This is what it means to be part of this community. And we're very clear that it is a community and that no one has the right to decide that someone else's child, that they don't have value. That if you don't get along with someone, that's okay. You don't have to spend every day with them, but you do need to respect them. And that's something we talk a lot about. And really working through things with kids to help them see that everybody here belongs and they have value because they are a human being.
Giving everyone the same respect and not treating anyone with different cultural backgrounds, racial backgrounds, gender backgrounds, identifications any differently than I would treat my family members, my mother, I treat everybody with kindness and love and hope that people treat me the same way.
I think that the traits of a healthy building culture are signs of community, right? Where you see people working together. I think having teachers feel supported by admin and teachers feeling supported by community, students feeling supported by all of those people, I think those are the traits. You can see it when people are welcoming each other by name, saying hello to each other when they're in the hallways or as they walk up. Yesterday I was at my son's and daughter's cross-country meet and seeing these students light up with their teachers and their administrators and their families there cheering them on. The principal was standing right at the end of the finish line, and those kids picked it into a different notch when they heard him calling them out by name and saying, "You're doing great and I'm proud of you." And I think that healthy culture is everyone feeling supported, that they're not doing anything alone.
There's a certain feel about a building when you walk in. And when I walk in buildings and all of a sudden there's this camaraderie, there's this level of respect and honor for each other, I notice right away that there's this feeling of being welcome within that space and place. Typically, I pop up unannounced, and I do that partially intentionally and partially because there will be no other way for me to do it and get around to so many schools. But I can tell you without fail, especially within the last few years, it has been so welcoming, and even when the individuals did not know who I was as it relates to my position and stuff, they just displayed what we're trying to accomplish as a district in terms of being open and inviting.
I think it goes beyond being just what Sandy Williams used to call being Spokane nice, which is just being nice on the surface. And that, that can help a little bit on a day-to-day basis. But I think it entails really getting to know students, getting to know their families, getting to know their backgrounds, getting to know the lenses that they see life through, and spending time with them. Sitting down with students. That's something that as a teacher, I really try to do that and to honor that, whether it's during class or between classes. But sitting down, chatting with students about their interests. Students don't learn from people that they don't like. So part of it is I want them to get to know me. So to be able to create those communities that are most effective for students where they feel comfortable, I need to be open with them about who I am, and hopefully they can reciprocate that and feel comfortable enough once they get to know me to be able to do that too and let me know who they are.
Like before you base them off of like the typical stereotypes that are put on other races, get to know someone. It's not hard and it's not gonna kill you to do it. You just gotta get to know someone, and I'm sure you'll find relatable things between you and whoever.
Yeah, just spread positivity, just like getting more diverse people in a more area so that we all get to know each other more and we all get to learn about each other more. Because I think that's what makes us all come together as a people.
I think that a lot of our leaders are stepping up and ensuring that people are feeling heard and they are feeling seen, and they are trying to create community to where people are feeling connected, which does lead to being valued. Oftentimes things do not go as planned, and I think that we have to give ourselves grace and give others grace for when things don't go well, but ensuring that we are recognizing where the areas of growth are and how are we intentionally addressing that when they are not.
What are some traits of a healthy building culture? Belonging, defined as being a member of a particular group. Connectedness, a feeling of belonging to or having an affinity with a particular person or group. Safety, the respect of the values and the physical, material, and psychological integrity of all individuals. Beloved community does not mean that we all think the same, look the same, or get along perfectly. Like in all relationships, there is rupture and the opportunity for repair in a restorative manner. What are some barriers to building beloved community? Implicit bias, we all have them. They're typically unconscious and involuntarily formed based on our life experiences. Microaggressions. Microaggressions are the everyday verbal, nonverbal, and environmental slights, snubs, or insults, whether intentional or unintentional, that communicates hostile, derogatory, or negative messages to target persons based solely upon their marginalized group membership. It is not about being opinionated or unkind or having varying opinions on matters that do not concern gender, race, or orientation. The context of the relationship and situation is critical.
I was probably like 8. That was my first time feeling different. It's not just the black and white picture or like the Hollywood view of us where they see like smoke signals or like Pocahontas or something. That's not our culture. Our culture is bigger than that. Our songs aren't just songs, our dances aren't just dances. There's more to that.
There was one particular student that was getting sent out of class, and he ended up sharing a story with me, and he said that this teacher reminded him of his 4th grade teacher. But at that time, when he was in the 4th grade, he didn't understand or recognize like what was happening. But as he's growing into a young man, and now he's in the 8th grade, he was able to identify that there was a bias at play with that teacher and how he was being impacted by their biases. And so having that conversation of how this, started in elementary and now it's leading to middle school, it was just really profound. So he felt heard, he felt seen, and we did have a connection. And so anytime things would happen, like he had somebody in the building he could go to, he had a trusted adult, he felt connected.
People see you for like not who you are, but who they think you are. Through the racism and all that kind of stuff, they're gonna be like, oh, they're just gonna be like the same dropout as their parents, or they're gonna be like all the islanders are gonna be just dropouts, and they're just gonna have the same low percentage of graduation.
A lot of people judge me on how I look, and they always associate me or classify me as a gang member just on how I look. And I've had people tell me before they judge me because how I look, but once they got to know me, they thought I was a good person. It makes you feel less important. Makes you feel like you're less than average.
I had some Native American students who were feeling really disconnected and disenfranchised, just not feeling connected to our school. One even had someone, making stereotypical, what they thought were Native sounds and tell them, oh, do you live in a teepee and things like that to this student. And it was infuriating, it was humiliating, it was disrespectful, and the kid was really upset about it. And came to me and we started working through the situation. And the other student that had done it, the more that we started unpacking the harm that they had created and the ignorance in their words, they actually felt really bad. They're like, gosh, I thought that was funny. Well, it wasn't. And so one of the things we did was, before we even got those students together, that student had to read and write a research paper on the impact of educational systems on Native peoples. And this student, my goodness, their eyes, when they started talking about boarding schools to me, like, Mr. Riddell, I didn't know about that. I don't know about this. I don't know about that. I said, yeah. So how about us not being instruments that re-harm our Native friends at this school? And the kid, I felt like it really set home with that student, and they apologized to the other student. And actually, the more I got to know this group of Native students, that I started seeing how they were feeling left out. And so we ended up working with them and partners with the Native Project to create a Native American leadership group. And that all came from some of the pain and frustration that these students were feeling as we worked together to try to find a place for them to belong.
Some people, they'll judge you just the way you look. It's kind of hard, just like me being as an individual and being young. It affects me because I learned these things at a young age, just like how people, when they're rude to other people, they've learned that thing at a young age.
My dad was a professor at Gonzaga, and so there was this amazing speaker from South Africa during the apartheid who had come to speak, and I was so empowered by what he was talking about. And so I wore this shirt to school with so much pride, and it said, Amandala Wetu, and it had a fist that just said, power to the people. And I was so inspired by that. And the boys in my class took gym tape, that white gym tape, and made swastikas and put them on their shirts. And I remember walking around and no teacher said anything. No other students said anything. Going out to the bus stop where there were parents picking up kids, nobody said anything. And feeling so alone in that moment. And having this feeling of I don't want anybody to feel this way. And I didn't go home and tell my parents. And they were loving and supportive and kind and understood, but I just felt like I was supposed to deal with this and figure it out. And I've realized, no, I didn't. My parents would have been there for me. They would have rallied for me. They would have supported me. They would have rallied with other parents. And so I think watching the experiences of my children and then my own personal experiences growing up, going, I want to be a support. I want to be a parent that other parents can say, hey, can I talk to you about something that happened, just to process? Because it can feel really isolating as families of color in the district and in Spokane in general. You can sometimes feel like I'm going through this alone, right? And so to be able to say, hey, let's share stories. Let's share stories and be a support for each other. Because if you can't stand up and say something, I want to say something. And when I can't, I'm hoping that somebody else will. Not just for my children, but for all children, that I would do that for you and for your kids. And then it gives a feeling of strength and support to know that you have other people sitting there going, yeah, I've been there. I'm so sorry. I feel your pain. You're seen, you're heard. I think that that's really powerful. I think it's powerful for us, and I think it's powerful for our children to see that community, and for our buildings to know that there's a community and a group who's saying, hey, how can we support you? Here are our stories. What are we doing to make things better and make change?